Dear viewers, welcome at another Latwoods video, this time focused on a question whether Bitcoin works and on limitations of Bitcoin. My name is James, I work in finance more than 10 years and study Austrian economics also more than 10 years. This time we want to focus on a view on Bitcoin limitations as money and show this to you in 3 easy slides, 2 slides related to Bitcoin privacy model and 1 slide related to limitations example. We built this paper basically on the original paper by Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. However, used many other both written as digital sources and our previous work for the last several months. All the time we are checking our findings and performing our analysis with revision of core economics books from classic and Austrian economics. So, the first slide, one of the 2 related to Bitcoin privacy model. We start with the Nakamoto paper. This illustration and quotation comes from the Bitcoin peer-to-peer electronic cash system paper 2008. This is something that is described as traditional privacy model within the paper. First, if we redraw it to say more visually comfortable scheme from our point of view, then we have a buyer here, a seller here, and needed third party, say bank, and not involved bodies. As Nakamoto claims, the banking model achieves level of privacy by limiting access to information. Banking model and traditional privacy model, these 2 notions that the paper of Nakamoto is using to describe one thing. Okay, first, what we need to say is that nothing like traditional privacy model exists as terminus technicus. If you review all the scientific sources, it's just a visualization by Satoshi Nakamoto how he perceives some segment of services within banking model related to online transactions, but not a traditional privacy model. In fact, there is no trusted third party if we look into reality in place, but a trusted and secure system, which is quite a substantial difference. In the real life, the description simply does not match with cash transactions. If you imagine buying a bread in a bakery, you never go through third party. If you imagine that you pay this via card, it's again not one third party, it's a system. And also digital transactions can be structured in many ways within the system. What needs to be said is that individual privacy is not a function of the system, but a result of an individual approach and decisions. Many times people are from the Bitcoin environment are convincing us that about this Bitcoin system logic, that security is the responsibility of an individual and privacy is something that is provided by the system through unavailability to track transactions and real people. If we compare this with official currencies, these provide security through integration with the legal order, and privacy is a matter of definition. and a result of an individual approach. These days you can trade your privacy by promoting on Facebook, you can go to reality shows, you can either sell your whole privacy, such as Kardashians did. It is also very often claimed that the current money are fiat money, and it is very often overlooked that there is always legal order behind them, authorized institutions and their assets and their people. Okay, so this is how one part of privacy was described within the Nakamoto's paper. A second scheme, again, quotation from that paper. If we redraw it, then we see that here is buyer who is unidentifiable, seller who is unidentifiable, and blockchain realizing the transactions and inform bodies about the transactions, because everyone can have a look at the whole blockchain. First of all, the scheme should to be visually consistent should have looked like this rather than this, because this is misleading. It seems that there's a big trick. No, there isn't. It should look like this. But anyway, Nakamoto then claims that this new privacy model system as proposed is similar to the level of information, or to the level of information released by stock exchanges. So it's similar to stock exchanges model. However, that is a misleading and inappropriate analogy because in stock exchange this line is here. So you always, if needed, can identify the link between identities and transactions. Secondly, this is not anonymity but elimination of ownership in the sense of law, and we commented this issue in the previous papers. And in fact, it is no change like the old system or official money compared to the new system or Bitcoin, because a trusted system must be in place always. Bitcoin is not a work of any economic genius. It's a specific purpose designed vehicle based on encryption and unprovable ownership for internet payments. That's it, if you read Nakamoto's paper correctly. Okay, and now let's have a look on limitations. Very often people claim that Bitcoin could be the future sound money. So now let's have a look on practical limitations. Example, and we know that we are in a system where an individual body can possess an anonymous key. And we also know that a lot of games in economy is based on repetition, our so-called repeated games. So with the understanding of the Bitcoin privacy principles, let's have a look on an easy example with an employee and a corporation. And we will focus on easily understandable issues such as contract, order, and invoice in the real life of these two entities, employee, corporation. So first, let's have a look at the employee who wants to sign wants to have a contract with the company. So currently, you write down your bank account number in the contract or can agree to receive cash eventually. With Bitcoin, it means that new address must be created for each transaction. This creates a practical problem that stems from the fact how Bitcoin is organized, or what are its basic principles. And it creates many practical complications. Just imagine if you sign once the contract with one bank account number, you always can have like mistypes in numbers and this kind of stuff. But you do it once, it's you check it once, it's okay. Should you do it every month, driven by the logic of Bitcoin? This is very impractical. At this point in time, with the official money, you cannot lose your account, and quotations are needed. However, in the Bitcoin environment, you can. Imagine what, and it's irreversible. Imagine what this could do in practical, real life. To say it in one sentence, more complicated solutions need to be found with Bitcoin compared to the current monetary system. In the case of an employment contract and remuneration payment. If we have a look at corporation, where here we have a company, suppliers, they're supplying goods, services, raw materials, whatever, through order and invoice system. In the company, there is a supply chain management need. You need to manage your supply chain. Currently, you establish mutually bank account connection, and once you reconcile accounts payable, receivable, you do a lot of things where identification of your suppliers is a key you use to work with your data analytically. Because it is a repeated game. With Bitcoin, it means that new address must be created for each transaction. It is not designed for repeated game. Again, more complicated solution needs to be found with Bitcoin. From our point of view, Bitcoin does not work for us as a human society because it is designed for non-repeated games out of legal environment, so to allow irreversible transactions based on encryption, preventing anyone to match real transaction with a real human. As such, Bitcoin is and cannot be sound money of the future by a definition. That's it. Thank you for your attention. And if you stay tuned with us, we are working on further reviews related to cryptocurrencies, and the next one could be Bitcoin as monetary revolution presents and future social economic view on the phenomenon and potential ways of future development. Have a nice day, bye.